It is almost Valentine's Day, and today we're making 3 Valentine's Day desserts. These are quick, easy, and they're all made with 5 ingredients or less. These are perfect for your loved one, or you can make them for a Valentine's Day party. So let's get started. We're getting things started with our puff pastry hearts. These are so much fun. We are gonna be using some Just Roll puff pastry, which is already thawed. And I love this one because you don't have to worry about unfreezing it overnight. It's just super easy. We also have some strawberry preserves, or you can use jam. Then we're bringing in a little bit of chocolate with this Nutella. We also have an egg for our egg wash, and then we have some powdered sugar. This is optional, but it looks really pretty at the end, just dusted over the top. We are also gonna need some cookie cutters. You can also do these in square shape if you don't have a cookie cutter. I got these at Target, but they were only a couple dollars. I'm gonna use the middle side, which is about 3 to 4 inches. We're gonna get started by lining our cookie sheet with some parchment paper. We also wanna preheat our oven to 425 degrees. Next, we're gonna open up our puff pastry, and I like to keep it in the fridge until right before I use it so it doesn't get soft and sticky. Now, some of these come in parchment paper too, but I'm gonna use my own for this recipe. And then we wanna just go ahead and spread it out on our cookie sheet. If you do it upside down and use your own, it's a little bit easier. Once you get this puff pastry all laid out, I like to make sure it's really flat with not a bunch of crinkles in it. So just make sure you press the parchment paper down and kind of smooth it out. Next, we're gonna take our cookie cutter and just cut as many hearts as close together as we can. Okay, so we got 12 hearts out of here, which means we are gonna make 6 of these puff pastry hearts. So I like to just go ahead and carefully pull the rest of the dough up. We don't need that. Sometimes the cookie cutters sometimes I didn't press down enough, so I gotta kind of redo them a little bit as I'm going. Just make sure you press down the first time. It's way easier if you do it like that. Okay, so once we get these cut out, it's definitely not gonna be perfect, guys, so don't worry. The biggest thing when you press down, kind of do this, just to make sure that that other dough is away from the cookie cutter. That's gonna give you a better shaped heart. Next, we're gonna just take a fork. We're gonna take 6 of the uglier ones, and we're gonna just fork prick them a little bit. You don't wanna go all the way through the dough, but just do it a little bit. That's gonna help the bottom portion to not rise, and only that top one is gonna rise. We're also gonna need our egg wash now. Our egg wash is gonna act as a glue around the actual puff pastry, and we're also gonna brush it on top so it gets really nice and golden. All we need is 1 egg, and I like to add about a tablespoon of water into it too. And we are just gonna take a fork and just combine this really well. Next, we're gonna add our filling. I'm using about a teaspoon or 2 of Nutella. The biggest thing is you wanna keep it in the center. Then add a dollop of that jam, and we're gonna brush the outer edge with the egg wash. Sit another one on top, the ones that haven't been fork pricked, and then just take your finger and really press down around the edges. You shouldn't have any filling leaking out. And then you're gonna take a fork and just prick around the sides just to close that gap. I like to do a little bit of a slit on top. The biggest thing with these is you really don't wanna overfill them. If you're using a smaller cookie cutter, don't use as much filling as I did. And if you're using a bigger cookie cutter, you can obviously use more, but you want those edges really just for the egg wash, and that way it won't seep through. Or not too much anyways. Then once we get all these done, we're gonna go ahead and brush them with an egg wash, and we're gonna stick them in the oven. Okay, so I just popped these out of the oven. I actually only cooked them for about 13 minutes. It's really just gonna depend on your oven and how thick the puff pastry was. But they did really good. The only one that kind of exploded a little bit was this one, and I think it was because I forgot to put egg wash on it. But just make sure you fork prick them really good. Everything else stayed really yummy. These are so cute. Look at the cute little heart shape. We're just gonna dust these with some powdered sugar and then give them a little bit of time to cool off, and then we're gonna enjoy them. This one came out really good. I love the edges. Yum, it tastes like a chocolate covered strawberry inside. It's so good, super flaky. Next up on the list, we are making Oreo truffles. These are so yummy. We're gonna top them with some Valentine's Day sprinkles so they are nice and festive. And this is a no-bake recipe. We're only using 4 ingredients. We have some Oreos, of course. And then we're gonna be using a 8-ounce block of cream cheese. You wanna use just regular cream cheese here, not low fat. And then we've got a 10-ounce bag of milk chocolate Ghirardelli melting wafers. You could also use white chocolate if you like that better, or dark chocolate. And then we have some sprinkles. I accidentally bought these ones with the balls. Like, they kind of like feel like they're gonna break my teeth. I like just like the regular soft sprinkles better, but whatever you can find is perfect. My grocery store only had a family size of Oreos, but you want to use the standard package, or if you buy family size, just make sure to use 36 Oreos. That's what comes in a regular size package. We are gonna add all of these to a food processor, then give it a nice pulse. Okay, so this like really filled up my food processor, and I still need to mix the cream cheese in. I'm just gonna take half of this and just empty it into a bowl. And then I'm gonna mix the cream cheese in 4-ounce portions. We need 8 ounces total, but we'll just do half and half. And I've let my cream cheese soften on the countertop for a bit. I would say about an hour or so. My husband's home right now and he's driving me crazy. He's so noisy. We are gonna transfer this into a bowl, and then we're gonna roll these into balls. We're gonna stick them in the freezer for about 30 minutes. What I like to do is just take a piece of parchment paper over a plate like this. That way I know this is gonna fit in my freezer. Sometimes like a big cookie sheet, it's not gonna fit. As far as the truffles go, you can roll them whatever size you want. You wanna make sure that it's really wet texture like this, like cake pops. It's gonna compact and be really easy to roll into a ball. The reason why we're freezing these for 30 minutes is because we want them to stay nice and solid when we dip them into our chocolate. So I usually just grab like about this size or so. Just fell off. And then you wanna just take and just roll it right into a ball. I have small hands, but you can see it, just about a tablespoon or so, and just pop it right onto our plate. Okay, so the way that I've rolled these, I have about 22 truffles. Just make sure they're not touching each other. If they are touching, you might just wanna separate them a little bit and use 2 different plates. We're gonna stick these in the freezer for 30 minutes. As we're waiting on those truffles to freeze just a bit, we are gonna start on our third recipe, which is a Valentine's chocolate bark. This is definitely the easiest of all the recipes. All we need is some melting wafers. We're using white, and we're also using pink, and those are just gonna swirl together, and then we're gonna top it with some sprinkles and some Valentine M&ms. This one's really fun. It breaks apart. You can give it to people. You can use it for Valentine's Day parties. It's just like a really fun recipe. You can also pretty much add anything to the chocolate that you want at the end. So it's really fun. What we're gonna do first is start with a cookie sheet, and we just wanna line this really well with parchment paper. Next, you're gonna add the whole 10-ounce bag of Ghirardelli melting chocolate wafers to the middle of the parchment paper. And you wanna just spread these out nice and thin. And then we're gonna add in the pink chocolate wafers. If I had to do it again, I probably would just do the white chocolate and add a little bit of food dye, because the pink ones take a little bit longer to melt. But it turned out great at the end anyways. We're gonna add this to a 200-degree oven and let it get really nice and melted. It took about 15 to 20 minutes to bake. Then we're just gonna stir it all together. You can add whatever toppings you like. I'm doing M&ms and sprinkles. And then you wanna stick it in the refrigerator to set. It's gonna be like a brick after, which is really fun because you can just break it apart. This is a super fun dessert. We're headed back to our truffles now, our Oreo truffles, and we're gonna melt our melting chocolate. You can do a double boiler, or you can use just the microwave. It's totally fine. We wanna get those truffles out of the freezer right before our chocolate is melted. You don't want them to unfreeze at all, and you're just gonna dunk them in our milk chocolate, sit them out on some parchment paper, and then top them with whatever you want. I went a little rogue with the sprinkles on that one, but I used some M&Ms and some Valentine's Day sprinkles. My husband said these were his absolute favorite and that they were dangerous because he could not stop eating them. The inside is like cake-like. It's so good. All right, you guys, we are all done with these Valentine's Day treats. I hope you guys love these ones. 5 ingredients or less are the best desserts. These are all super easy to make. They're really fun to do with the kiddos too. Let me know in the comments which one you're thinking about making. Happy Valentine's Day. Make sure to give this video a like and make sure to subscribe for new recipes every single week, and I will see you next week. Bye.